you tryna eat, first you gotta volunteer. No, they can't compete. They can't. I just heard that this the day.
Hey, man, this is another
you
Swan
can't
Izzo.
catch. Too
Real
late,
familiar,
but we
man.
out of here. Had to take a stand. Make no struggle, disappear. Ta-da, in the building. Voila, up like Lady Gaga. But I can't pray no dollar. What we doing? Walking your habitat. Make it do jumping jacks. Walking your habitat. Make it do jumping jacks. Gotta go bathe today. Gotta go shake and bake. Go. Working for goodness sake. Work, but I can't stand the fake. Walking your habitat. Make it do jumping jacks. Walking your habitat. Make it do jumping jacks. We gon' make it look easy. Let me squeeze in my own lane speed.
What's up, everybody? You know how we do it. What's going on? Episode 71 A-League Show. SoundCloud, Apple Podcast, Dash Radio, of course, all that good stuff. You know how it is. You know how it is. We kind of was, of course, no show last week. So, I imagine a lot of people out there was a little bit disappointed, but you know how it is. We back, just got lots of stuff going on, of course. So, how's everybody feeling this morning, this weekend, Saturday in Metro ATL?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. It's great to see that it's not super cold this morning. And it's kind of ironic, March 21st, first day of spring, is freaking cold in Atlanta. But
that's so crazy to me. That is so crazy. Like it's so cold. And the thing is that at least it's not like places up in Canada or up north where they're still getting hit like by northeasters. I was talking to my friend Lo, and it's like they're still getting hit like 10, 14 inches of snow up in Long Island. Like, give up north a break. Like, if anything, send some of that junk down here.
No, don't do that.
Send some of that junk down here. Like, honestly,
it's the beginning of the end.
Send some of that junk down here. They need a break up north.
They give us a half an inch. This city shuts down.
You got a point there.
This ice down here is different. The snow is different.
It is. It really is.
It's more icy.
Exactly.
1 inch of New York snow is probably like
because
it's nothing. Right? It's nothing. Because they're so used to it. They're so used to it.
But it's different snow though.
Right, exactly.
It's different
because
snow.
It's powdery.
Exactly. It's like more plush and stuff, and you can go through it. It's just a bunch of snow. Down here, it's hard snow, so it's free. It freezes over, and you can't drive. It's not safe to drive.
Right.
And we don't have salt trucks because it happens once every 4 years.
Mm-hmm. That is so true. Or it seems though that it's been happening a little bit more frequently the last few years. But it is it is what it is. But yeah, lots of stuff has been happening. I know the last time we was recording, we was just getting into everything that was going on as far as the start of the tournament, and over the last couple of weeks, there's just been so much. There's been so much happening. Everybody's been falling in love with UMBC. That whole story, the one over the 16 over the one,
Sister Jean.
Right, exactly. And that too. Kind of a little bit disappointed around these parts that our alma mater, Georgia State, was bounced out of the first round. But cool. Then Cincinnati blew that lead.
Right, 25.
That lead to
like
Nevada.
28 points.
20 some odd points.
It was like 20, at least 23 in the second half.
It really was. It was amazing. But it is, that's just how. It's just the beauty of March. Like, so much happening. Oh, by the way, Jeremy Johnson entered the building. What's up?
Last time we had our big prediction by Mr. Johnson.
Oh, we got
talking about the Elite Eight.
We got to change the introduction, man. It's award-winning. Jeremy
Oh
Johnson.
yeah, that's right. Hey. Jeremy, how do you feel, man?
Straight out of Athens.
He got his hand like the guest pastor over there now. We don't have enough time to go through all your accolades.
We have a special guest today.
We don't have enough time to go through all your accolades.
Journalist Jeremy Johnson. Y'all crazy.
He's all dignified now and everything like that. He should be coming in with a suit and tie in UGA colors.
I feel like I should get a raise for A-League because of Jeremy winning.
For real, he came all Athens with the hands crossed. He got the Georgia hoodie on.
Gotta be professional, man. I came here professional.
He's a celebrity now. He's a celebrity.
Shout out to the kids. Side note, I know we're talking about March Madness. A bunch of kids and people around the country right now are marching the streets of major U.S. cities right now. fighting for gun control. And also, just want to touch on Sacramento and that whole thing with those people standing up and stopping something where they know there's going to be a crowd and making people know their point. So shout out to Sacramento. Shout out to DeMarcus Cousins paying for the dude's funeral.
Right.
You know, hey, it might be, you know, this might be the generation it is where, you know, things are flaky and people just ride with the trends or whatever's hot, but it's working. And I just want to salute everybody participating in activism and stuff.
It's a different, you mentioned a good point, Rashad, about how it's a different, you know, it's a different generation. I feel like that, yeah, generations in the past have been socially active, but I feel like that because everybody is so connected nowadays due to social media, I feel like that it is it's one of those things that previous generations, of course, didn't have, and it's something that really is uniting a lot of, you know, many generations, and not just, you know, generations from, say, you know, close places. It's one of those things that really unites people around the world. Like, people around the world are marching, and of course there's that huge march, of course, in DC, where there's going to be lots of celebrities, and lots of people have really come out in, you know, in support of this. So, you know, it's a big thing, it's a big deal, and we mentioned this a couple of episodes, the fact that these aren't older people that are standing up. These are young kids. These are, you know, this is the future of this country that is saying, we're tired of this.
Never
do
again.
something. Never again. Do something about this for a change. We're tired of the thoughts and prayers.
I don't know if it's actually going to do something, but back to basketball.
Yeah, you gotcha.
You got Loyola Chicago, Sister Jean, like I said. Shouts out to them. I had them going to the Sweet 16, actually. I didn't have them going to the Elite 8, but I had them going to the Sweet 16.
I want them to beat K-State. They play K-State, right?
Yeah,
Loyola,
yeah.
yeah.
No,
I hope they get.
No, they just. Oh, you mean in the Elite 8? Yeah.
In the Elite 8,
yeah. Because K-State beat Kentucky.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, G-State, Migos had G-State going to the Elite 8.
They had to go to the Elite 8.
And it's funny because after, when we see the Elite 8, it wasn't that big of a, you know, hard thing. If they beat Cincinnati, all they had to do was beat Nevada and then Loyola Chicago.
Because all the big guys are falling down. Like
Exactly.
Like Virginia, we mentioned the UMBC thing.
Right.
UMBC, the 16 over the 1. And I know, as I mentioned in the group chat, lots of people are gonna downplay the Virginia bit because they were without their 6th man. But I'm sorry, a 16 over a 1 is a 16 over a 1 on any basketball court, any given day, rain, snow, sleet, shine, away, night or day.
Shout out to them.
Right. So
did you see Shawnee Shemmel? No, it wasn't Shawnee Shemmel. It's the other girl, the new girl from the Dream. The one that was taking over. She was the best player last year since McCautry was out. The point guard, Lasia Clarendon. Lasia Clarendon. She tweeted, she was like, "This is not the first time a 16 has beat a 1
yeah,
in
that's
NCAA
right.
history.
Because it happened in
Put some
happen in
respect
the women's
on
tournament.
women's basketball."
Yeah, because it did happen in the women's tournament. And it was one of those things that, as a WNBA writer myself, it was one of those things that was really, you know, it was a big thing within that particular, you know, area of social media. So, you know, that, and even the UMBC, you know, social media mentioned that as well.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely shout out to the women's tournament this year. I think this is going to be one of the more interesting finishes in, you know, the recent years, because it was freaking UConn for 5 years consecutively, and it was
not last year because South Carolina won. They beat Mississippi State.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's the first time they lost in 100-something games, and before that they had another 100-game winning streak.
Exactly.
So I'm glad that this is the first year where we don't exactly know that UConn's going to take it, just assuming. We have a couple superstars. I like to shout out Asia Durr, Aja
Asia
Wilson.
Durr is balling.
Asia Durr from Douglasville.
Right, exactly.
And then Aja Wilson from South Carolina. Mackenzie Ingram and the dogs. I wanted to say my dogs, but, you know, I kind of been trashing them.
That's my dogs.
Mackenzie Ingram, shout out to them, you know. My other girl, Lexi Brown from Gwinnett, which we're actually in right now, Gwinnett.
Right.
Lexi Brown from Duke, she's balling out with them. This is her last year. So, I mean, yeah, it's some superstars this year in the women's game. And then, of course, you can't forget Morgan from Mississippi
Mississippi
State.
State, right.
And all those girls. So shouts out to all y'all. I'll be watching starting like the Sweet 16, which is now. So
I'm telling you right now, Asia Durr looks like I've seen Louisville games. Asia Durr looks like that she could be in the WNBA right now. Like I'm telling you right now,
junior.
she's
She
a
had
junior.
47 earlier this year. 47.
Right. When she
looks
gets to
really
the pros,
old.
they better watch out.
She looks really old. She looks like she's 25 already, but she's only like 19. She was born in 97. It's crazy.
It is crazy. It really is. It really is. But it's just it's a fun time of the year, in sports. This really is, one of those things that just makes it, really fun to watch going from tournament game to tournament game. It's a big time. It's a fun time, really.
Question: is March Madness the greatest sporting event?
No.
Not over the Olympics.
No.
The Olympics are the greatest sporting event.
Well, what's the greatest sporting United States event?
In the United States,
Probably the Super Bowl.
probably got to agree with you there.
And then the NBA Finals will be next.
Yeah, the Super Bowl for sure.
I mean, the March Madness this year, I've been really disappointed, honestly. I mean, it's really just been boring. I mean, there's been upsets, but, when you get to this point in the tournament, you look around and you got Florida State and Kansas State and Loyola, Chicago. I don't want to see that. I'm good.
I mean,
I'm
but
not
the games,
So you
the games at
prefer
the end have
chalk
still been
over
good.
upsets?
I like the upsets. They're cute to watch, but at the end of the day, I want the best teams to play each other. That's the whole purpose of the tournament, is to get the best teams out there, and we're not going to get a real national champion this year.
A lot of people have said that because they think the one and done has kind of just ruined everything. Do you think that's ruined college basketball?
I mean, I think it has, but if you look at the best teams, they don't really have one and done. Like, Villanova's the best college basketball team I've
Arizona?
seen. Arizona was never one of the best teams to me.
But I had Arizona going to the Final Four.
I mean, it's because they have star players, but like teams like Villanova, they've had the same cast of guys since they won their first championship.
Doesn't Villanova have like a lottery pick?
But he's not a one and done. He's been there 2 years.
Right.
So I mean,
he's still like a high.
He's not a star player. He's not even the best player on the team though.
Oh,
Jalen
wow.
Brunson's the best.
Yeah,
Jalen
you're
Brunson's
right.
their best player.
You're right.
But he just happens to be,
Right.
a prospect.
A lottery pick.
But I mean, that you get that situation sometimes. But I like watching those teams play against like I consider Duke a great basketball team, a great
basketball
college
program.
a great program and great college basketball team. Even though they have a couple one and done guys, but they have guys that have
Grayson Allen.
they have guys who've been in college. So,
Bagley.
I mean, that's a college basketball team.
I really want to see Grayson Allen's like pre-draft interviews. I think those are going to be very interesting.
I think so too.
Because like that's the time he's out of school, and then he can just reflect on the bad guy questions. How
Right,
do you feel
exactly.
being the bad guy.
Like, he's the typical Dookie. Like, when people think of what is the prototypical Duke player, people will think of Grayson Allen, because people love to hate on Duke all the time because they win championships all the time. And Grayson Allen gets
And
a
they're
lot
white.
of flack. That too.
I think
And
People hate Duke because they're white.
and
I
it's-
think he's probably the most hated Duke player, probably since Christian Laettner.
So
Yeah,
Christian
yeah.
Laettner
That's
is
saying,
hated.
and that's saying a lot.
Definitely.
So-
Because he can't keep his feet down. Just keep it as simple as that. Stop tripping.
Like I
people,
mentioned
man.
a
Stop
few
kicking
episodes
people.
ago, if he tries that mess in the NBA, if he would have tried that mess in the NBA in the 90s, that's a scrap
In the
that's a
90s,
scrap going
Because
on.
now everybody will just hold each other back. It won't
Right.
really be a fight. They'll
Right.
just,
Yeah, but
hold
I
me
mean,
back. Hold me back.
He's in
Hold me
college
back.
basketball
Right.
in the 2010s. It's a huge difference. So
Yes.
would he really try that against Rod Strickland in the
Nope.
90s? Come on, man.
Nope.
Charles
Nope.
Oakley.
Nope.
No way. No way.
He wouldn't make it to the bench.
Charles Oakley would have body slammed him on the floor.
Yeah, he'd have been running to the bench, and Charles Oakley would have dragged him back out on the court.
Right. To beat him up some more. You want to do that? You want to scrap? You want to scrap?
Yeah, man, but I definitely want to see those Grayson, because now when they ask him those questions, when they asked him when he first started to trip and stuff, you can kind of dress it up for the PR, right? But after you graduate and you're headed into, your career's over, and
Right.
you're headed into the next stage, you can truly, I think, honestly answer those questions, unless he's still going with the PR stuff because of his draft stock. So
Yeah, I mean, if I was him, I would talk to whoever Baker Mayfield's talking to, because they're kind of college or football and basketball versions of each other.
Right.
Because, Baker Mayfield could be a high draft pick. He could also go in the second round. Same thing with Grayson Allen. I can see Grayson Allen. He has, low lottery pick numbers. I mean, potential, but people have already been attacking his character, so he's gonna go later. And then he's been in college for 4 years, so I don't know why that hurts people, but it does.
Oh well, they're older.
Yeah, they're older and they've. I don't know. I can't say, well, oh, you've had more time to practice your game. That means I know more about you. I can't really say that's a weakness because
Adrian Payne.
Adrian Payne was never good.
I thought he was gonna be something because he stayed 4 years.
Nah.
At least more.
He stayed in college because he had to. Grayson Allen could have come out after his freshman year.
He get no sophomore year.
Freshman
He
year.
didn't play much freshman year.
He was the sixth man of the year.
He didn't play. That was his freshman year.
Yeah.
Are you sure that wasn't his?
That was his
sophomore
freshman year.
Wow.
And then he won tournament, what's it? Player of the tournament when they won the national championship. That was his freshman year.
Yeah. Oh, he won player of the tournament over Okafor?
Yeah. That was the Final Four. He was the most.
Yeah, I knew Okafor and Tyrus Jones.
Yeah, but Grayson
And
Allen.
Jalen, I'm not Jalen Winston. What Jameis Winston? Not Jameis Winston.
Oh, Justice
Winston.
Winslow.
Justice
Winslow.
That's how you know you're a
Jameis
scrub.
Winston,
yeah.
Justice Winslow, Justice
Yo,
Winston.
that joke. He was supposed to be good,
You
man.
would just combine a football player with a basketball player.
And Rodney Hood ended up being better than him, man.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah.
Wash. But I mean, did you guys? I saw this Kevin Durant, Michael Beasley interview on ESPN with Chris Haynes there at a restaurant, and they're talking and stuff. And Beasley said like kind of one of the keys to his career flopping was getting drafted to Miami.
Wait, who? Who was this?
Beasley, Michael Beasley.
Why did he say that?
Because he was saying like, you know, when he gets out of Maryland, you know, when you get to the NBA, like everybody from your hometown kind of want to go out. And KD said he didn't have that problem because ain't no one was trying to go out to Seattle. It rained every day, so and so. So KD said he had all the OGs, you know, talking to him in the neighborhood. Beasley just hooped, and he had all the, you know, all the game bangers and hood rats and stuff, you know.
Because Miami versus Seattle.
Right. Well, that was even beforehand, but just them growing up in D.C., they just had two different people, you know, kind of raising them.
Oh, yeah,
and
that's
stuff.
right.
And then you put that on top of he goes to Miami. And
Miami
KD
with a
goes to
bunch of
Seattle.
lifestyle.
Ain't nobody going to Seattle, but everybody and their mama trying to come down to Miami.
South Beach, of
trying to
course.
get money, trying to, you know, this. Hey, Beasley, can you do this? Hey, Beasley, can you do? So he got caught up in that lifestyle. That threw him off a couple of years. So
Yeah. I mean, that's a good point. I had never really thought about that, but I mean, that's kind of what scares me about the Hawks drafting high. You know,
About players possibly getting all caught up into the Atlanta lifestyle.
Yeah, I mean,
and
Sexton
the strip
won't.
clubs.
Sexton won't.
I mean, they're gonna have to look at players that's gonna have to be a part of their process when they, you know, look at players. Is this guy, you know, gonna be caught in the shiny lights of the NBA?
Is he gonna try to be Schroeder?
Or just the city,
Right.
period.
Yeah, just I mean, some guys are just built for big markets. Like, you know, I'm trying to think of something. Blake Griffin, when he went to LA, he was just built for.
He has a personality.
He had the personality to fit going to LA. I mean,
Yeah.
but I don't see someone like Kevin Durant. I've never seen him as the type of guy that would, you know, be able to play in New York because of what he just said. He was, you know, he's really grounded, and when he was coming in, he really wanted people to like him. In New York, that's impossible.
Yeah.
Like everyone's never gonna like.
Well,
him.
he's playing in a big market now,
I
playing
think-
in Golden State.
But he
I
gets to
think-
kind of play in the background.
I think
He's not the star.
everybody
Because
loves
Curry's the
Porzingis
star
in New
there.
York. Everybody loves Porzingis in New York.
Yeah, Porzingis is built for that.
They
Yeah,
didn't
and
like
then-
him. They didn't like when he first came.
Yeah.
They hated him when he first got
But then
there.
they start
I mean,
peeling back and
yeah.
find he
What's
had
so
personality.
What's
and
so
they were
funny
like, oh, we
about
like
New
this
York
guy.
is that they hated Carmelo Anthony for a certain period of time when he was there. Now that he's in OKC, now they love him.
Well, because it's like, you know, it's like the career thing, you know,
There's,
like, you
marketing too.
know, looking back on your
That helps a
career,
lot.
you want to like salute them and all that, you know. Thank
Yeah.
you for coming to us in the first place because we originally wanted you, and then you came and we had a great first year, and then we sucked after that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It wasn't Melo's fault y'all stunk. It wasn't
Yeah.
Melo's fault y'all sucked.
I wouldn't think too badly about Atlanta. I mean, it's just Atlanta in general, the basketball culture is like you don't have that pressure. Like it's different being no one pick for the Falcons, being the no one pick for the Hawks, and it's just like, you know, like they talk about right now. Trae Young, you know, he's being mocked. You know, like they starting articles about New York media starting Trae Young to New York Knicks, and it's like, when can he handle all that?
No.
Because it's just like, you know, they bring a 2009 draft, you know, and they, you know, Steph Curry and New York, you know, there was talks about that happening, and that didn't happen. And then, you know, the Hawks is just, it's just not that. I just don't see it as that type of culture. Like, you know, you can be number 1 pick, 2, 3. You're not gonna be nobody's gonna look at, you know, only 10 people gonna look at you as the savior. Still gonna have attendance problems. So
Yeah.
I could see Trae Young just as easily being a star, just as I could easily see Trae Young as being a bust.
Let me tell you something. I noticed something about Trae Young. He definitely. I don't think he would work in a big market because he reads social media and he pays attention to all that stuff.
They stay on social media.
But like he allows it to affect his game because, you know, at first they were saying, you know, well, he's taking all these long shots. Okay, cool. There was like a 9-game stretch where he only took 10 less shots trying to get his teammates involved, and they lost more because of that. So I'm like, if you're gonna, you know, change the way you play based off what you're hearing in the media, that's not a good sign because that means you're listening, you're playing, you're putting too much into what people are saying.
I'm not too
Trying to
familiar,
please
I'm
everybody.
not too familiar with Oklahoma's coach, but that's the same coach that Buddy and Blake had, right?
I'm sure he coached for Buddy, but I think Jason Capel was the coach when Blake was there. He's on Duke's staff now. I don't think that he was there.
By the way, I haven't seen you guys since. That's what happened. Last week we weren't here because of a multitude of reasons. I was in Nashville for the tournament, and I stayed after Georgia State played that night, and I watched Missouri. Porter ain't it. His brother is better than him. And we had this discussion because, you know, he missed a whole year, and it's tough to catch a rhythm when you don't get real playing time. It's no substitute for real playing time. But
Right.
How much of the Hawks game did you watch last night?
Jonte Porter, huh?
How much of the Hawks game did you watch last night?
I watched pretty much most of it.
Did you see
About 75 of it.
Steph Curry missing shots?
Yeah.
He missed 6 games.
He
This is Steph Curry, one of the best players on the planet.
In the first quarter, he missed shots, and then he started making
And
shots.
he
in the
missed
second
only
quarter.
6 games, and he's almost 30. You're talking about a 19-year-old who hasn't played college basketball in his life.
What about
with a serious back
Kyrie
surgery.
With a
Irving.
serious back injury.
Kyrie Irving?
Kyrie Irving hurt his big toe.
Okay, but he missed the season, and he came back in the tournament, and he turned up.
You gotta look at how serious that back injury is. Like Tiger Woods, the same injury Tiger Woods and Tony Romo had.
Yep.
Okay, so what
ended,
does that?
It ended Tony Romo's career.
So what does that say about Michael Porter Jr. bouncing back?
He's younger than them. That's work on his side. You know, it's the fact that doctors and stuff cleared him, but he shouldn't even play. Like most lottery players, they wouldn't even play.
Well, he said that he wasn't closed-minded to returning for another year before the season started.
I don't know. I think Michael Porter's going to be the best player in this draft. That's just me, though.
He ain't it.
He could be. I mean, who knows? It
Porter
could be.
ain't it.
The draft's a
I'll tell you that
crapshoot
right
every
now.
year. The draft's a crapshoot pretty much every year. By the way, here's another thing about this tournament that I want to get into. We kind of got into this last week. This whole thing about conferences. Last time I checked, we're about to go into the Elite Eight, and I know you, of course, you was making the argument for the SEC possibly being the best conference in college basketball. Last time I checked, no SEC teams in the Elite Eight. Look at Rashad. He's flexing now. Last time I checked.
I mean, what? So
The SEC is the greatest.
Let's get into this
the
SEC
best
stuff, 'cause I
basketball
wanna get into
conference
this.
in college basketball.
starting some stuff.
Jeremy, no. What? Then who's better? The ACC? All right, bet. In a couple weeks, we're going to see it's going to be at least 3 of the 8 Elite 8 teams going to be from the SEC. Just watch.
okay. How many does the ACC have?
I know they have Duke. I'm trying to think who else. I think
It's so
Well,
many
I
teams
don't
that are
even
in it
know
that are
who's
supposed to
playing
be
right
in
now.
it. Like we know Duke's
my
supposed to
bracket.
We know
It ain't the ACC.
I can usually follow my bracket and know who's still in it and who's still playing.
I can tell you
But
one
since
thing.
my bracket is busted,
It ain't the ACC. Florida State's still in it, but you mean to
Yeah,
tell
Florida
me?
State.
You mean to tell
Florida
me
State and Duke.
that the best, like the last? I think Florida State was like.
I think there's actually going to be 3 ACC teams in the league.
Well, Syracuse lost last night to Duke,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they guaranteed the second team, and
that's it.
State-
Oh yeah. And Virginia, the number 1 team in the country, they lost to a 16 seed. I don't think an SEC team has done that. So
Oh, here it is.
Okay, I mean, but it's 2 versus 0.
what?
It's 2 versus 0. 2 ACC teams, 0 SEC teams.
I mean, but
they had about the same amount of teams going to the tournament, right?
The ACC had 2 more.
ACC, they did have about 2 more in all things considered.
I think they had like 1 more.
They had 9, and the SEC had. Oh, ACC. I think the SEC had 8 and the ACC had 9.
Yeah.
No,
There's
Syracuse
one more.
made 10, I think.
No, I think they had one more. Because, I mean, I remember seeing the graphic on the opening show. Shout out to Ernie Johnson. I think it was like 9 and 8, I think. I think it was just a 1-team difference.
Either way,
They were both up there.
the SEC is still on the rise. Like 2 years ago, it was the worst conference in basketball.
I mean, I'm not saying that we're not saying that,
That's
the
a
SEC
bit
is
of a
bad.
stretch.
They're on the
It
rise.
was one of the worst.
Okay,
The Sun
one of the
Belt,
worst.
the Sun Belt
The
was
Sun-
as good
Sun
as
Belt
the
is-
SEC.
The Sun
2
Belt
years
is
ago.
always the worst.
Well, in the Sun Belt,
Kentucky-
basically like the minor leagues of the SEC in all sports, essentially.
Yeah.
I mean, they may get some players that are SEC caliber, but I mean,
Oh,
it's
DeMarcus
SEC versus
Simons.
Simons can
Who
play in
I
any
also
league.
I also told you. I mean, I already told you about him. He
What?
doubted Simons.
Isn't he
He
coming
doubted
back to
Simons.
Georgia State?
Yeah, he's coming back.
Oh,
Why?
and they got that dude coming in.
I don't know.
They're gonna be beasts.
I think he's been listening to what people have been saying.
Yeah, the NBA scout telling him he's not going to get drafted. Yeah.
Oh, that's probably why he's coming back.
He'll probably get drafted if he put his name in. Definitely go second round. After
Why
that,
would you leave college to go second round? Man?
Especially when you have another chance to make the tournament. I mean, Georgia State's going to be a pretty, they're going to be a pick to win the SEC. I just put state in the SEC. Oh
Hey,
man,
that
we're
would
trying to
be
get
that would
blown
be
out.
nice to watch.
They're going to be a pick to win the Sun Belt again and get back to the tournament. And who knows, they may actually advance further because they're projected to be an even better team next year. And it may have it may very well increase its draft stock even more.
I mean, I think he'll be a first round pick after next year.
you know
I'll
what I
definitely say that.
Oh, yeah.
realized
about all of this stuff, like Cinderellas, they don't really help your program that much.
No,
Look
it really
at George
doesn't.
Mason.
Yeah, they're
George
terrible
Mason
right
is
now.
like in an NIT or something like that because I only know because Jared Oliver covers them.
Yeah, and I think
Shout
that's
out
the
to
women.
Jared.
I think that's the women team.
That's a woman team. So it's
Yeah.
like George Washington or George Mason.
George Mason.
Who else?
I mean, it helped VCU for a while.
VCU, with,
but Shaka Smart's gone now,
Eric
of course.
Maynard. But I mean, it helped Butler.
Butler got a lot better.
But Butler got better.
Butler was consistent.
Wichita State has maintained
And
it.
Wichita State.
And then Gonzaga, of course. from
Well,
like
Gonzaga's
probably
good
20 years
every year.
And
Like
they've been-
Gonzaga was in the
exactly, but I mean,
they've been
national
good since the
championship game
80s
last
though.
year.
Yeah, but that had to start with one Cinderella team, because it's a
Yeah.
mid-major.
John Stockton's team.
The fact that they're considered mid-majors and they're like always up there and it's regular. It
Yeah.
had to at some point be a
If you
Cinderella.
make the tournament every year, in my opinion, you're no longer a mid-major. Like I mean, I'm not like a Cinderella. Like mid-majors, in order to be a Cinderella in my book, you got to be one of those teams that only like makes the tournament like once every like 3 or 4 years. You can't be like Gonzaga. They're no longer a Cinderella. Wichita State, Butler, they're not Cinderellas anymore, in my opinion. They're right up there.
Georgia's a Cinderella.
Well,
If Georgia made the Sweet 16, it'll be a huge story.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
And
UGA.
it's even that's a big name school, and it'll still be a huge story.
Mhm.
Georgia State, man, if Georgia State made the Sweet 16 at Phillips Arena.
Kansas State is a Cinderella.
Oh,
team.
definitely.
Yeah.
Even though they're in a big conference and they finished second in that conference. I did not
2015 when State made the
I did not know
tournament.
that.
2015 when State made the tournament. If they had Ryan Harrow healthy, they probably would have got to the Sweet 16 in my book.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
They
really-
would have beat Xavier.
They could have
Right.
beat Xavier. Yeah.
Absolutely.
They only lost by 8.
Right.
But
And Harrow could score 8 points in his sleep.
Simon scored 16 of the first 16 points, man.
That's crazy.
I've seen the dude play a lot. That game, that opening, I never seen him shoot like that. I've never seen.
Me
It,
neither.
it looked like some LeBron stuff because
But when I was watching that game, it was also one of those things. I was also thinking like, okay, Simon's going off, like he's having a big game, but he needs some help. Like he needs Jeff Thomas or Devin Mitchell. Like he needs some help. It just can't be a one-man show out there going up against Cincinnati, who is one of the best rebounding teams in the country.
yeah, he
That's the
dominated.
only thing.
He almost did it against Tech in the preseason.
And then DeMarcus kind of fell off as the game went on. Like he had those 16 points and he just ran out of
it's
gas.
what you called that's just conditioning. Coach Hunter got to get them boys right in the offseason.
Oh, I'm pretty sure he will. I'm pretty sure he
Boys
will.
running.
I'm pretty sure absolutely he will.
mean,
Absolutely, no
that's-
question about that.
That's why I'm kind of glad he's coming back because he didn't as the point guard. I mean, it's cool to score all those points. It was fun to watch, but then nobody else has touched the ball the first 8 minutes of the game. So when you start missing, okay, you pass the ball over here to this guy. He hasn't touched the ball the whole game. I mean, you expect him to make shots. You take him out the game, and now you have no offense. I mean, I don't. That's cool to watch, but it's not how you win. That's not how you win basketball games. So.
Right. By the way, David, we mentioned a little bit about Kentucky. Explain your boys.
It is what it is. I didn't expect them to go that far. And I was surprised they made it. So
Surprised they made it.
Yeah, it was just
Kind of goes into the whole SEC thing.
Yeah.
Oh, isn't they do it every year? Every year now.
Do they though?
It's like every year they have the preseason hype. Oh, Kentucky has the second best recruiting class behind Duke.
A lot of that is Calipari.
And then, so they do the little midnight madness or whatever you call it, midnight happiness. And Drake comes out and it's a big deal. Oh, Kentucky got this 5-star. Oh, they're starting all freshmen. And the sixth man's a freshman too. Wow. And then they go out there and they win. They blow out the first couple of teams. And we're like, oh, Kentucky. Oh. And they go from like they go from like 6. They go to like 6-2. And then they're like, oh, Kentucky might be serious this year. And then they start losing in the middle of the season. And Kyle starts just trashing them. Oh, we're not that good of a team. Or it is this, that. And then the kids start believing it. They go through illusion. And then they hit a peak at the tournament, the SEC tournament. And then they usually make the championship game. They might win. They might lose. That's every single year. What do you mean, no?
It's like they follow the same exact script the Cavs follow.
And then they get to the exactly. And then they get to the tournament as a mid seed now because they're no longer 1 seeds anymore. And then they just end up going way further than we expect. Remember when they went to the Final Four as an 8 seed, or they went to the championship game against UConn or something like that, and they were like 8, 9 seeds or something like that. So that's every single year with Kentucky now.
I don't know. I think that's taken for granted. I don't think it's every season that they throw guys together and it just works, because it hasn't worked since they won the championship with Anthony Davis. That's the last time it worked.
Yeah, I mean,
and even that team had a core of older guys on the team. Cal, he gets credit for just being able to throw 5 freshmen together and then they work. No, that has never happened with Cal at Kentucky. Every time he's just thrown 5 freshmen together that were highly recruited, they have not been good. No, this was not a good team all year.
Right. I mean, but making at least the Sweet 16, the Elite 8, the Final Four, they've done that.
They were doing that before he got there, though.
Yeah.
Right.
Kentucky's always done that.
Even when Tubby Smith was coach.
Kentucky had a couple years where they were kind of irrelevant.
But Kentucky's
but they were
one
still
of those
making
teams,
the Sweet 16.
Kentucky's
That's what I'm saying.
one of those teams that you always expect to make it, like the Duke and the Carolina and the Kansas. They're one of those teams you expect to always be up there.
Conversation about Kentucky.
Yeah, I mean,
Duke around and.
Duke and Kansas.
Yeah, Duke, Kansas, Villanova. Is Villanova still?
Villanova's still in it.
Yeah.
That's my pick to win.
They beat West Virginia. I have Villanova and UNC in the championship, and UNC winning because they lost to Villanova a couple years ago at the buzzer.
Well, Carolina, didn't they get bounced by Texas A&M?
They got blown out.
They got blown out by Texas A&M, a 7 seed.
A&M got blown out.
Right. That's the nature of the tournament this year.
As long as they didn't lose to an ACC team.
Wow. See, hear this, Rashad? As long as they didn't lose.
Who they lose to? Michigan?
That's another team that's for real.
Michigan, I have Michigan State going far because Michigan State and Kentucky are always 2 teams that just get hot during the tournament and always make it to like the Final Four.
Right.
Yeah. Both of them always get hot, like no matter where they are, what season. Yeah, I was surprised Michigan State, but they lost at like the buzzer though.
When's the last time Michigan State won a national championship?
Ooh.
That was a minute ago.
Time.
That was a minute ago, like the early 2000s or something like
it's
that.
Crazy.
05 maybe?
No.
05 they made the Final
UNC.
Four in 05 with Louisville and Illinois and North Carolina. But I
They're
think the last
always
time
in the
they
Final.
won it,
Izzo was always in the Final Four.
because Mateen Cleaves, I think, was on their last championship.
That was
team.
2000 then.
That was 2000. Mateen Cleaves.
You crazy for real?
Because
all those Final Fours they made, and that's the last one.
I think they won one. I think with Draymond and that group. But there was a stretch where Draymond Green and the Lucas guys they had a point guard named Kalen Lucas maybe, and they made the Final Four. It seemed like 3 or 4 years in a row, and they didn't win the championship.
Yo, remember DeJuan Blair? He was a dog.
At Pitt.
He was a dog, man.
He was.
I'm sad that his knees didn't work out, and he was undersized. He didn't work out in the NBA.
I know.
And then Big Baby Davis was selling weed now. So
And trying to get into
the Big Three has
other.
the worst like just image because once you join the Big Three, it seems like you're always in the news.
Seems like you're washed if you join the Big Three.
No, I mean, but they're always in the news for the wrong reason. So like the Iverson thing with the gambling, and he was in the casino for 3 days.
Yeah.
And then this now, and then rest in peace Rasul Butler. But one of the players died. Like, dang, a lot of stuff is going on with the Big Three. Man.
Yeah, I mean, it has to do a little better with its overall image.
Michigan State's last national championship was 2000. Morris Peterson, Steve Cleese.
Yeah.
Oh, Pete.
Wow.
Kobe dropped 81 on his head. I didn't know he was that young.
That's been a long time. I definitely thought they had won another one, but it's the 2000 was their last championship.
I thought Mo Pete was like, I thought he was in the league since '96.
But get this. Since 2001, from 1999, they made the Final Four. 99, 2000, 2001. They made it in 05, 04, 2010, and 2015, and they only have two titles.
That's crazy.
They're the Braves of college basketball.
That's crazy, man.
Essentially, they are. That's exactly what you just said.
But
Atlanta Braves concept.
Izzo's trying to buy into this whole this one and done way of thinking now. He's always been the coach that kind of just develops guys over 3 or 4 years, and then by the time
Coach K did that.
Yeah, but Coach K can do that because Coach K coaches USA basketball.
Exactly.
Tom Izzo ain't that kind of brand name. He's a good coach. He's a great coach, but he's not him bringing in that kind of talent and just throwing it out there. That's not going to work for Michigan State.
Did you guys see Terrence Moore's column from the Undefeated about the lack of black coaches in college basketball now? Because there's no longer the Black Coaches Union or something like that. It was called in the 90s. They had it with the guy from Arkansas that coached Arkansas for a long time. Yeah. Richardson.
Yeah,
Richardson and stuff. So I thought it was an interesting column because, like, I mean, you think about the top college basketball coaches. I can't think of a black guy.
Me neither. To tell you the truth, I mean, I'm trying to think of one right now off the top of my head, and I can't think of one. The only one really I can think
Martin.
Of, only one I can think of is Avery Johnson at
Oh,
Alabama.
the Florida State coach.
Florida State has a black coach.
Florida State black coach. I mean, but he's not that big. I mean, because you got to think, Coach K, Izzo, Roy Williams,
Bill Self,
Boeheim
at Syracuse,
Boeheim.
But see, these guys don't ever retire. So
Mark Few at Gonzaga,
Right.
Jim Boeheim been at Syracuse how long?
forever.
Like it's
He
been
was
like
basically at
40
Syracuse
years.
when they started the basketball program. It seems.
Coach K been at Duke 40 years.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, I mean, Roy Williams only been at UNC like 10.
Because
But
UNC still operating off the Dean Smith.
Yeah, right.
You know,
didn't Roy Williams replace Dean Smith? Or
Did he?
that was a coach in between.
I think it was a
it
coach
had
in
to
between.
be. Dean Smith is kind of.
He was
But
in
they
the
call
late-
it
he
the
was
Dean
late
Dome
90s.
for a
Yeah,
reason
Dean Smith is
because
pretty old.
of what he built there at Carolina.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
Roy Williams was coaching that Kansas team
Kansas, yeah.
when Melo was in the championship.
Yeah, that was
So that was 03.
Yeah.
So, Roy Williams pretty new at UNC compared to the other old white guys.
Yeah, I mean it really is. It really is an issue in so many different ways as far as black coaches.
And the only reason why we know about Avery Johnson is because he coached in the NBA.
Oh, he coached in the NBA, and didn't he coach on an NBA Finals team in Dallas?
Yeah.
Was that him
They
or was
lost
that
to Miami.
Carlisle?
They lost to Miami.
Oh, yeah. They lost to Miami.
Oh, they lost to
06,
Miami. They
06.
lost to Miami.
Carlisle
Carlisle won the championship.
Carlisle won it.
And
Right.
I want to say Avery coached the Nets when they were good.
Yeah. Avery has a coach of the year. I know that.
No, he didn't. He didn't coach him.
He wasn't the coach then. Who was
Byron
their
Scott.
Byron Scott. That's it.
And then they had but Penny Hardaway just got the job at Memphis.
Right.
He's been coaching his son's AAU.
I mean,
team.
Lenny Wilkins.
Mike Bibby been coaching.
No, Tubby Smith. That's what I'm thinking about.
Tubby
Tubby
Smith.
Smith he's probably the
Former
best.
Kentucky coach.
Yeah, he's probably the best that was left from this has been coaching for like a really long time.
Didn't it was somebody that I forgot. Was it like John Thompson or something like that?
Oh yeah, John
John
Thompson.
Thompson.
I was about to say George Thompson because Georgetown.
Georgetown, right?
Oh yeah, Patrick Ewing. I forgot he was a coach.
Where does
Right.
My bad, Patrick. Georgetown.
Oh, he took over for
My bad, Patrick Ewing.
Thompson.
I
Right.
forgot.
How could you forget about Patrick Ewing?
Dang, that's disrespectful.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Georgetown is like the blackest college basketball powerhouse in we don't give him.
Well, you know, looking back in the early '90s, before the Fab Five gets all the credit,
Right.
but Georgetown had a revolution that was
Oh, yeah.
kind of similar
Right.
to what the Fab Five did.
Georgetown always been black.
Yeah,
Right.
And
And
they kind
UNLV?
of changed the way that conference played basketball, and that's why they were so dominant because of how they played, because of the great players that came from that area.
Right.
They were recruiting a lot of those guys that were
From the DMV.
Yeah, from
Yeah.
that area. So
Exactly.
Iverson from the DMV.
yeah,
And
so,
now they got Mike McClung. That boy, hey, Mike McClung raised the roof. But,
Absolutely.
where is he going
Georgetown.
next year?
Yeah.
Could be back on the come up. They could be back on the come up. I wanted to get to this as well. I'm pretty sure that you've probably heard about this stuff going on with Michael Bennett and him getting indicted on supposedly. Sorry to switch gears, but him getting indicted, I guess, on this allegedly like he ran over, or I guess hit some woman at the Super Bowl. And what I heard is that something happened to where they originally knew about this, like the Houston Police Department originally had brought these charges, like, not brought these charges, but they were investigating this, like, of the Super Bowl. But a year later, they finally decided to bring charges.
No. It's like this.
I don't know.
You remember Kevin Hart at the Super Bowl this past year?
Yeah.
yeah.
He did the same thing. Just Michael Bennett did it. The end.
That's what it seems like, though, to me. That's all it is.
So instead of the security stopped him, since he's Michael Bennett that big, he just
Yeah, they just had their way with him because he is who he is.
They just make it seem like Michael Bennett beat the hell out of an old lady.
Right.
Old lady,
Well, he
old
No
man.
facing
video,
10
by the way.
years.
No video.
the man is facing 10 years.
No video.
I would sensationalize the story too. He facing 10 years. He got indicted. That means there's enough evidence for the grand jury to believe that this man is, he could really be punished for this.
Yeah.
That's what indicted means.
Practically
And he's facing 10 years
10 years.
for shoving an old woman. I mean, he's in the NFL, so he's got great lawyers, and he probably won't get a day in jail, but in
Yeah,
prison.
that's why-
But still,
Wait, so why did she just all of a sudden decide to file charges?
I don't know, man.
So was it bad enough? I'm not familiar with the story, and honestly, Michael Bennett's become a little. How do I say this?
A little bit too much of a.
Overcovered.
Yeah, overcovered, and then if I'm an NFL team, he's a little bit more trouble than what he's worth as far as his talent on the field. He's not that good anymore. I'm sorry. I wanted him on the Falcons.
Yeah, he's just older.
He's not worth.
And it happens to everybody. They break down. They all get older.
He's
I mean,
he's
but
not worth it.
that Vegas thing, right? I mean, that wasn't his fault. Like, he literally just ran away from the. Like, he was running because.
Yeah, that wasn't his fault at all.
I'm not even talking about like all that stuff. I'm
Right.
talking about just like
Just-
his personality just wears you out
Just
as a locker room.
Too much baggage.
Oh, running into the stands in Jacksonville.
That's a lot, man.
That was too much.
Like if I'm his teammate, man, I'm just like, bro, you got to go play somewhere else. I
But
like
it was
what you
someone
bring to
else.
this team. but,
Who was the other dude? Quinn?
Was it?
I can't remember.
I forgot.
You said what?
The
In
other
Jacksonville?
dude that ran into the stands with him, bald head dude. His name was Quinn.
I forgot his name.
Yeah, it was Bennett and some bald head dude that ran into the stands.
That'd be like a line or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was another
D-lineman.
defensive lineman,
Yeah,
I
it was
think.
another D lineman.
I don't know.
Yeah, I can't
Me
remember.
neither.
I don't
Yeah.
remember,
I-
but like
I
a lot
don't
of
know.
that, it's just. It's
I mean,
just a lot of
but
stuff, man.
but Bennett got all of that attention because Bennett is Bennett.
I mean, I agree, but like, I don't think there's much to do with. Like, I don't really feel like this is gonna turn into much, and it's become a lot. I mean, if he just like slapped the lady and okay, cool, go to jail, bye. But
If he pushed the lady out the way,
Uh-huh.
hit her with a swim move. First of all, why is a 60 whatever she is, 66-year-old disabled woman serving as security at the Super Bowl?
And plus, I know a lot of people are making the comment about how there's no video where there's pretty much cameras all over the place. Like, I know that somebody tweeted, somebody who was
they
covering the
found
game.
Tom Brady's Super Bowl
Right.
jersey
Yeah, they
last year.
And
found
this
that
was the
jersey.
same
But
people
they ain't
who did
find
the
who
Super Bowl in
killed
Houston.
Tupac.
Right. And these are the same people. And I remember that somebody had tweeted, somebody who was covering the Super Bowl tweeted something like, oh, he had to pretty much like scan his credential at like 12 or 15 different checkpoints at the Super Bowl, but yet they can't find video of Michael Bennett allegedly doing this to this lady.
Okay, so if it is what David says it is, and it's just basically what Kevin Hart did, I don't care. I'm sorry. I don't care. I do not care. I'm sorry. I don't care.
I just think that
I don't care.
I just think that the fact that there's no video, I think that's unless they're able to possibly and the police department said that there's no video. Unless they're able to find some video, everything is going to be circumstantial at this point. And so they're pretty much just going off what evidence that they may have, and it could very well end up being circumstantial in that sense, but it really hurt. The fact that there's no video, it's kind of ironic, no video. So I feel like that's something that, in my opinion, definitely hurts their case. It seems to
all that being said, from the Philadelphia Eagles, I just tell Michael Bennett, hey, look, we just traded for you. You just gotta go, man. You haven't played a snap for us, but that's not what we doing here. We not bringing all this attention to us. We just trying to get another Super Bowl.
And we just won a Super Bowl, so we're trying to build something here in Philly. We want a dynasty. We don't just want one.
We don't want one. And they don't need that in their locker room. I don't know why teams win Super Bowls or get close to winning Super Bowls and they go to bringing in all these big personalities like they just to try to catch on to win the Super Bowl. No, you don't need all these
Super Bowl winning teams, but also teams that feel like that they're getting close to winning a Super Bowl, and then they end up, blowing up their whole locker room. Like I remember in baseball, that too. I remember a few years ago, it was 2008, and the Chicago Cubs had this great season. They bring in Milton Bradley. Freaking Bradley of all people. It blew up their locker room. It blew up their clubhouse, and they didn't get back to the playoffs until 2015. Then won the World Series in 2016.
That move pretty much ruined what the Cubs had going. They had a nice little young team, and they were close to being.
They were
good.
right there.
They brought in Milton Bradley, destroyed the entire locker room.
Right, and they already had a volatile personality in Carlos Zambrano, so that was not too good.
Yep, that's what the Eagles are dealing with when they're dealing with Michael Bennett.
Essentially, it just is one of those things that is, sometimes when you bring in these personalities, and sometimes really and truly, that's probably one of the reasons as to why some teams do that, because they're probably thinking, oh wow, he's a name, it's got to be a name for a reason.
Seattle got better by getting rid of Michael Bennett and Richard Sherman.
They still do have Russell Wilson, as we mentioned a few weeks ago.
That's not true.
Their defense got worse. But the team's locker room and the team's culture got better.
The team's locker room, the team's talent, no.
I think defense is probably.
But the NFL is more
defense probably better.
I mean, we talked about that. Did we talk about that last episode where Seattle just?
We did talk about that.
Pete Carroll just has that next man up attitude.
Yeah.
Well, of course, he brought that from USC. He's a college coach.
They've also drafted really well. Like I think David brought up, they have a kid, Michael McDowell. Is that his name? Malik McDowell. He missed most of last season? Literally the exact same player as Michael Bennett, but younger, cheaper, quieter.
That offense isn't better than it was last year.
No, I didn't say that. I said the team is better.
No, Jimmy Graham just signed with Green Bay.
That makes them better, honestly. Jimmy Graham
Jimmy Graham is washed and a big name.
They won a Super Bowl without Jimmy Graham.
Exactly. Like people. This is one thing. This is my pet peeve in the NFL is that people will see a big name target and think the offense gets worse because, when Gronk gets hurt, the Patriots offense is not going to be good anymore. No. Right. The statistics say that the Patriots offense is better without Gronk.
Peyton Manning, Denver Broncos syndrome.
I can't roll with that.
Because look, I'm going to tell you why.
Right.
When you as a defense, you can game plan for Gronk.
Right.
We're going to bracket him. We're going to put this guy on him.
Because that's how Brady throws.
And even Tom Brady, I know I got to feed Gronk the football because in this situation, this is where he makes his money. I got to get him the ball. When you have 3 slot receivers, who do they key on? Nobody.
Well, they don't just have to throw to Gronk. They can throw to Edelman.
Do you think the Falcons' offense is better when Julio's hurt?
I know the Falcons have a losing record when Julio has over 100 yards receiving. Same with the Giants.
Perhaps they key too much in on one player.
Yes, when you start.
But the Giants also have a losing record.
No. This is not just over the last year. This is just over the last his career.
Couple years.
When he's been out or when he's had less than 100 yards receiving, the Giants' record is like 7 games over 500.
Giants won a playoff.
It wasn't this year
without
Odell.
I mean,
won a Super Bowl without Odell. They haven't won anything with Odell. Odell's just been there.
They won a Super Bowl because they had a great defense.
Right.
Both years they won the Super Bowl, they had great defense, even though everybody gives the credit to Eli.
That's all I'm saying is that argument is invalid because this year they didn't have Odell and they were trash.
But they were trash with him. They when he got hurt, they were already 3 games below 500.
And the
Man,
Giants
shout
were a
out-
mess because they benched
Evan
Eli
Ingram, Miles
unceremoniously.
And,
Yeah, we about to have.
Jerry Reese built that team horribly. Like
Yeah.
I looked at the stat just the other day. They only have 1 player left since the 2014 draft.
Yep.
Guess who it is?
Eli.
Odell Beckham.
Odell.
That's bad. That's multiple drafts. It's like 4
Wow.
drafts and 1 player.
Well, you
That's-
just miss out on talent. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
they drafted Ryan Nassib in the 2nd or 3rd round, and he's literally just sitting on the bench. They haven't given him a chance. Then they cut him.
Wait. You said 1 player from the 2014.
From the 2014.
Okay.
15, 16, 17 draft.
No.
14 draft. Odell's the only player left.
Yep.
Evan Ingram.
Since 14.
Oh,
Gotcha.
What?
no,
Evan Ingram.
not last year's draft. 16 was the last year he was saying.
Oh.
15,
but he
14.
said
I mean,
16.
16.
Okay. All right.
Wow.
Because they still are, and the only other player I could think of that may have come is Jordan Pugh, who's a free agent right now. So
I think he's with Arizona, I think.
yeah, he may have signed with somebody, but he was a free agent this offseason.
Jerry Reese built that team horribly. It's the fact that they only make the playoffs every 4 years. That's when you got
Right.
Hall of Fame players on your team.
And it kind of got brushed over because they won Super Bowls when they made it.
Yeah, I really thought they were about to win the Super Bowl last year.
In the
when they made
NFC
playoffs.
East, which previously was one of the weaker divisions in all of football, now you got Philly crushing everybody. Now what are they going to do?
It's hilarious because everybody always wanted to talk trash about how the NFC East was the best division and how the NFC South was trash.
It's
Right.
the most exciting.
And now the role's set for
It's the
worst.
NFC East is the most
Is
exciting.
it
because they got
really the
Dallas.
most exciting?
Yeah, it's-
Or is it because they show them the most on national
No,
television?
it's-
Right,
Let's
that's
talk
what it
about
is.
It has
Because
the
they
most
got
drama.
Dallas
Yeah,
and Philly and
Well,
New York and all the rivalries in the
I
big
feel
markets.
like any division would have the most drama if you covered that division the most.
It's just the personalities.
It's the
just
yeah.
them
And the
playing
markets.
The
And the
Falcons.
markets.
There's so much media in New York
Like
and Philly and the upper I-95.
if you covered the
David
AFC,
finish.
yeah.
What you about to say, David?
Like the Falcons are boring. The Panthers 2 years ago, they had personality, just like Philly has personality, and Dallas has personality. New York has personality. Atlanta's boring. Tampa's boring.
Washington has Josh Norman.
Yeah,
They have
Washington
personality.
lost
Washington-
Kirk
Washington-
Cousins.
Yeah, Washington has personality because you got Kirk, you got Norman, and what was it? Who am I leaving out? New Orleans, they have personality. That's the only thing. You got Drew Brees, but other than that,
You know who else also had a lot of
You said
personality?
New Orleans
Seattle.
don't have-
Look where that got them.
New Orleans has personality.
I said they had Drew Brees. That's what I'm saying. Like New Orleans, that's it.
Oh,
like
no,
that's
no.
the only team that people. that's
Kamara.
generally.
I mean, this was just last year that the Saints got some
yeah,
swag.
with Kamara and all, because
But
like
we're-
the fact that they were doing the 2-person interviews, bro, like that was some hood stuff.
New Orleans, the only team that really got respected outside the NFC South.
Yeah.
Because of Breeze.
Now, as football fans, we all know that the NFC South play real football. We all know that, just based off because
Yeah.
And then just growing up in the NFC South,
growing up watching
and then
it.
seeing it like every year the worst team, the next year they be the best team.
Yeah.
and then
Right.
that just shows you like, and then all the NFC South games go to the final kick. And so
I mean, in the NFC East, I mean, I think this is the best this conference has. I mean, that division has been. Like, we got the Super Bowl champions in that conference. I mean, in that division now. The Redskins just got Alex Smith. That gives them probably 6 wins.
Oh, yeah.
Just
yeah.
that move alone.
Right.
Then you got Dallas, who just picked up Allen Hurns.
right,
What will
and
be-
bringing back Dez.
And bringing back Dez. That's going to be an underrated move because both of these guys block. Now, if I was Dallas, I would go out and try to see if DeMarco Murray would want to come back. Because now you got
I like
Ezekiel
that.
Elliott with DeMarco Murray.
And then OL.
Who is their other running back?
It was Alfred Morris. I don't
Oh,
think he's there anymore.
yeah.
I don't think he's there anymore. But
Yeah, and it's just now the NFC is the dominant conference. Like growing
And
up,
the NFC's been the dominant conference for a minute now.
Yeah,
Because
for a
growing up,
minute.
the AFC was dominant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and now,
Well, like with the Steelers when they were going 15-1 and like
And Indy when they
Chargers.
were
they
Chargers.
basically,
barely be talked about.
and Indy when they had
Yo.
Manning and they were basically the Braves of the NFL.
The AFC has some squads, man.
yeah, it's like growing up, you have 8-win Arizona to be deep, in Philadelphia they can go 9-7, and they make the playoffs, and they're like considered a contender.
Now, when
I
Arizona
remember,
almost beat Pittsburgh in the Super Bowl.
I remember like Seattle. Who did they beat? I think they beat the Rams, and it was like they finished the season 10-6 or 9.
7-9.
Yeah.
And then they ended up beating the Saints.
Won the division, made the playoffs, and beat the Saints.
Yeah,
at
they
home.
was 7-9.
And Marshawn Lynch said the home
I remember that, man. That was real. I remember that.
The 09 team.
Yeah.
And that was a trash like final game of the regular season for the Seahawks to clinch that.
Yeah.
I remember that. That was trash.
Yeah.
But yeah, the AFC was where is that? And now the AFC is
The AFC is basically New England, Pittsburgh,
AFC is bad
and a
now.
bunch of college teams.
but
it's
Pittsburgh
just-
isn't even that good.
It's
anymore.
just
they aren't
pretty
as
much
good
just
as they
like,
used to be.
pretty much like the Eastern Conference in the NBA, pretty much.
Yeah.
Essentially,
Yeah,
that's
exactly,
right.
It
Well-
got a lot better because Houston got a quarterback.
Yeah.
And now they have the Honey Badger. So Houston's going to be one of those teams that's going to sneak in there. And you're going to look up at the end of the year, and everybody going to be all into Jacksonville's hype. And then Houston's going to be the team win their division.
But in the end, Houston may very well win their division.
I don't know.
But Houston's not getting to a Super
I'm,
Bowl.
wa- I'm
No.
just- I'm waiting to see
Not while
like,
Brady's
if,
in that division.
Mariota can finally break out.
No.
You know,
Mariota is so good, man.
It's just
That-
like
he's talented.
I mean, like Malarkey, I never liked him. I never liked him in Atlanta.
Yeah. He wasn't good in Atlanta. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
I didn't like him when he was the head coach of Tennessee. It's just like that system was just old, and it's just like you got an athlete at quarterback, and
Yeah.
you got
Right. I mean, it's just, it's so crazy how the divisions have just practically
Yeah,
flipped.
well,
But
I'm definitely
yeah.
excited for the draft coming up. These pro days, like look past the quarterback stuff because it's just crazy.
It's funny to watch sometimes.
it really is in so many different ways.
Yeah,
I'm not buying Josh Allen until I see it.
Oh, really?
He's got to prove me like Carson Wentz. Like you have to prove it to me.
I take that approach with every quarterback. I really take that approach with every quarterback, just about everybody that comes out of the draft.
Nah,
But
there's some years where you know.
Yeah.
Like Cam Newton, we knew Cam Newton was gonna be, I
But-
don't know about Josh Allen.
Honestly, there is not a quarterback in this class that's going to step in the NFL and beat Carson Wentz or Jared Goff.
Right.
Like, all these guys have major flaws.
Well, Jared Goff was,
Jared Goff's not
mediocre
good
his
now.
first year.
He's just all right.
Yeah.
He's all right.
He was mediocre his first year. Last year he had a great season.
Jeff
last year,
Fisher,
I
the head coach.
Yeah, true.
yeah, that hurt
He
him
said,
a
"I'm
lot.
not going 7-9."
I'm not going 7-9. I want to make the playoffs for a change.
Yeah.
Hey, 7-9. There used to be a time when 7-9 would actually get you into the playoffs if you were in a really poor, weak division. Like it would have you in contention, really.
How much? How does this get on your nerves though when they see these quarterbacks throw in these pro days, and then all of a sudden their stock just
It's so gets
just
on my nerves
blows up.
because it's like,
Or just
yeah,
goes down.
anybody
Like
can
just
throw
the-
40
like,
yards
you're-
downfield with no defensive lineman bearing down on you, trying to tackle you into the next county.
and it's not even like when you throw at the combine, because you're literally in your backyard.
Thank you.
Throwing to your receivers.
Thank you.
No
in
defense.
in a workout set up to make you look good.
Get him.
It's like you're interviewing yourself for a job.
Get him.
And Manziel was at a pro day.
I don't know why that
It
happened.
was a camp on, but yeah,
yeah.
but yeah, it was just my thing. My big pet peeve was just predictions because it's just like like, they're like Cleveland's gonna get Darnold because Jimmy Haslam was talking to his parents. I was like, did you know that he talked to Josh Allen's parents yesterday? So
Yeah.
so they're gonna draft him 1 and 4. They're gonna draft Josh Allen and Sam.
They're gonna
Darnold?
draft both.
I think if I'm Cleveland, like the only two quarterbacks that fit what they're trying to do is Sam Darnold, who I don't think is very good. I think he turns the ball over way too much, and he hasn't won anything. What has he won? He's won nothing. Josh Allen would be the perfect fit for Cleveland because he has a year. He's not a guy that's gonna come in and start and take your franchise to the next
Well,
level.
first of all,
he needs a
Tyrod
year.
Taylor.
He needs
put
a
some
year.
respect on Tyrod.
Tyrod Taylor
man.
can handle it for a
He's
year.
a decent quarterback
He's
because before the season I was like, Tyrod Taylor is trash. Kaepernick should be in the league ahead of him. Tyrod Taylor had a good year.
I
last
like-
He
year.
did have a
like
good
Ty-
year in
I
Buffalo.
like-
People
I
still
mean,
don't know.
and I'm talking about that game against Atlanta where just tore us up, but that's Atlanta's fault.
I like
Yeah.
Tyrod, but he should already know the situation he's in. That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
he's a sitting duck, but
Definitely.
I would
he's better than RG.
I would
RG3.
give him 8 games.
Yeah.
If I draft Josh Allen, I would give Tyrod Taylor 8-9 games to prove me wrong, and then I'm putting in the
He's
kid.
not gonna
Oh,
have
yeah,
8
yeah.
games.
I like
You
that.
got Hugh Jackson on the hot seat.
He's gonna
True.
look good.
That's
He's
true.
I like
gonna
that.
look good.
Yeah, Hugh.
Tyrod Taylor's good, man.
No.
I think he gonna hold them boys down.
He's okay. I mean, he's just a good game manager.
Yeah.
It's just,
At best, he's a backup.
yeah.
Yeah.
He just I mean, that's just the way it is. Like you get keep $16 million and start for a team, like, go for it. But that's what, like, he's gonna be on another team next year. After this year, he's gonna be on another team. But he's got a place in the league, thankfully.
Before we go, everybody go around and tell me the best player you think in this draft and why. I'm gonna say my best quarterback is Josh Rosen because he's the safest. I don't know. I like Josh Allen a lot. I really think he has the best chance to be the superstar of the group. But I think Josh Rosen will be the one that has the best first year.
I agree with you. I'm
best
with you on
player
Rosen.
is probably Chubb from North Carolina State. I think Saquon Barkley is really overrated because I don't know. I see stuff where he's just perfect prospect and he only had 5 100-yard rushing games.
Rosen looks like one of those guys.
And one of them was against Georgia State, so it's really 4.
Exactly. So
what do you?
he's not as perfect as people think he is. I honestly would prefer, like, okay, he's a running back. He go out, tears ACL first day of practice. He's a bust.
I just think it's the fact that you got Sonny Michel and Petty and stuff that makes me feel really.
Yes.
It's just like, this draft just makes you feel even less about him because it's just like Ronald Jones. You got so many
Darius Guice from LSU.
Yeah,
there's guys that can do what he can do.
That's why I'm just like, if you miss on Barkley, you get Sonny Michel. He's gonna put up numbers.
Yes.
It's a deep draft, even deeper than last year's, and that's why I was just like.
I mean, you got 2 backs from the University of Georgia that could start in the NFL for some teams.
Yeah.
And you can get them in the 2nd or 3rd round while you also grab a quarterback, a left tackle, or a defensive end. You don't need to draft a running back 3rd or 4th.
Deep
That's
draft.
dumb. That's
Deep
dumb.
draft.
And the funny thing about it is, you draft a running back that high, it'd be like top 5 highest paid running back in the league.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Especially when running backs don't last that long in the NFL.
Yeah, so I don't see the point. Like, he had to literally, like, impress me. Like, Barkley had to literally have, like, freaking high school running back numbers, wishbone high school running back numbers. Right?
Yep.
That's the way
He got to run for 1,800 yards. That's all
He had a good bowl game.
Running backs don't run for 1,800 yards no more. Not in the NFL.
And that's why I'm not drafting one 1st or 3rd or 4th.
Like the ceiling for running backs, it used to be one of those things in the old days in the NFL where if you ran for 1,800 yards, that's a great year.
Yeah.
Now a great year for a running back in the NFL is like 1,500.
What Alvin Kamara did last year, that's the new, you had a great year.
Thank you. Right.
He only had 800 yards rushing, but then he had maybe 400 or 500 receiving, 60-something catches. I'll take that over a running back that gets me 1,500 yards, and that's it.
Right. I'd rather have those all-purpose yards. I'd rather have that rather than something like that. But wow, that was a lit show. I gotta admit that was a nice show. We did some March Madness.
Hold on, wait, hold on. I thought everybody's gonna go around.
Yeah. I took all the time. I'm sorry.
Right,
Y'all go
that's
ahead.
okay.
I say Derwin James. I like him.
I like him too.
I think Josh Rosen is the best quarterback. And then I want to say this for the best player. Hillgrove is absolute trash. They had, in between 2012 and 2014, these had 3 NFL first-round picks on their team. Bradley Chubb, Kenyon Drake, and Evan Ingram. 0 state titles. Hillgrove, what are you doing with your program?
Wow.
All right, but Bradley Chubb is the best player in the draft.
I like the thing about Rosen that kind of gets me is that he, because of the fact that he played already in a big market, it's one of those things where you think that he would be able to kind of make that transition because in a lot of ways there are some players that that you draft and then you kind of wonder exactly how they would transition into the big lights in the NFL. But eventually they're able to do that, and he already has, in my opinion, that personality. Now, I agree with you in terms of him possibly having a best first year and then maybe falling off on that. But, we'll see what happens as far as the draft. Because, like I said, it's a crapshoot because I still always go back to this in the draft. You just never know what you're going to get because you got players that will be just complete, that will be just relatively average players. Then they transition to the NFL and then they become superstars. You just never know. You just never know with the draft. But that should be it. I mean, episode 71 once again in the books. A-League show, all that good stuff. Wherever you listen, once again, thanks once again for tuning in. Everybody wanna go around and do their sign-offs.
This is David Noah at Twitter at DNoah90.
This is Jeremy Johnson Clark _Kit _75.
Rashad Milligan. You can follow me on Twitter at
Akeem Balaam, Twitter, Grand Beyond the W. Check it out. We out. Peace. See ya.
Tell your baby daddy I'm Richard. I don't wanna sip liquor. Stop trying to pressure my. Just like the club, that was weak. Grab me out the street. Wait till I leave. I'm finna beat it till I fall asleep. Yeah, baby daddy is suck.